Hey everybody, the sun is shining. It's Sunday here in Denmark, and I'm inspired to go on and talk about something that I'm working on for my group of business clients that I am coaching in how to create results in their life, in their business by doing different things, having different conversation, breaking through fear, breaking through comfort, creating new results. It started off a 5-day challenge that I called 5-day Pop Your Business Challenge, which then morphed into, and that was also the intention, into a 12-month program called Pop Your Business or Pop Business with the Fundamentalized Method. Now I'm coaching this in Danish, so it's not going to help. It's not for you, for the English speakers. It's not a program applicable to you, but I want to talk to you about it anyway, because it started out really fun. And that's why I was just inspired today to come share in English to whomever may be viewing this. This could be people who follow me in different areas. And I was inspired by my son, who did his first YouTube video today, his first live stream. The first one was a redo and only lasted 21 seconds. And then he redid it. And the second one he did didn't come up, but he did get like 13 views in the first one, which was 21 seconds, where it goes, no, cancel, delete, mom. And it's just great to see how inspired and moved and open he is. Like he's in now creating, and I'd much rather have him be creating content on YouTube than watching YouTube. So this was a flip around. He's really, really keen. He wants to watch YouTube all the time, and it's been a long, long struggle. So I got this idea of swapping that around, and now I'm inspired to share with you guys about sales. What is it that stands in the way of sales? So there are many things, but I'd call it connection. So I was sitting here with my students that I teach and thinking about how you create connection. And the 6 students I have, they're all great at different parts of, I call it the dragon because I watched a movie about a dragon last night. One of the students is really good in vision, and the other one just has a really, really hooky story, an emotional, amazing story. So they all have different parts of it. But what everybody lacks, including me, when we're in an enrollment conversation, is connection, right? So how do we create connection? So first of all, connection also is applicable before, like everything is enrollment. You open your mouth, it's enrollment, right? So the first part I find is the ingredients is honesty and authenticity. Now that comes natural to some people. Me, I'm always honest and authentic. That's always my feedback. There are other things where I disconnect. Definitely, I lack connection in other areas. But the first 2 ingredients I find is honesty and authenticity. That is the hook that makes people wow. What are you, that really hooks people, right? So that can be a stretch. So if it's a stretch for you to be honest and authentic because you have an image, you want to protect it, it feels uncomfortable, you want to look good, you want to look professional, you don't want to look like an idiot, or all these conversations, that's where you get to focus in your connection and in your enrollment, because those are the first ingredients of connections I found. And I'm just thinking about it because I was thinking about how to serve my people, my clients that have come to me to help them create the business that they want, break through, and really take action in their life. And there is no action if there is no enrollment. Everything we do is to enroll people to move their lives, either as with or without us as clients. Just the more people you move and inspire to do something, clients are going to come naturally if you're putting service out there and it's changing people's lives, unless there's something completely missing in your business model. But then we get to look at that. So that was the first thing I wrote down. It's also, when you create an opt-in video, the first thing is a hooky question. And then it's what we call point of view, like a personal story. Before you even say your name, you just share something really, really personal. So I shared about grabbing my son by the throat, and I shared really honestly to connect. There's, of course, a meaning by sharing that. And it's a meaning to the right people. That was to moms. Like it lasted 1 second, but it was a second that changed my life. And it really did. So you choose and you share a personal story that's can be scary and uncomfortable to share, but that's what creates the glue and the connection. So first, it's an enticing, inspirational questions when you do the whole opt-in thing, right? Are you a mom trying so hard, but 9 out of 10 times you fail and you're going, I did it again. Like, so that's literally how I feel. That's my first question in creating a connection in what's called an opt-in video. And it's the same in enrollment and in connection. It's the same ingredients, right? Honesty, authenticity, curiosity. So creating them to be curious about you is of course one thing in the opt-in video, because that's not a dialogue, that's a one way. But when you're in an enrollment conversation, you get to be curious, right? So that's the second ingredient. You probably can't read it because it's backwards. So honesty, authenticity, number one, creates the hook and the point of view if you're in the opt-in video. But when you're in talking to potential clients, it's in the call, right? You're there for them. You're not being fake. You're just you, right? The more you can be in everything. Also, when you're servicing, creating your events, the more you can be, the more that's the main marketing tool, is just to be you. And if you repels people, great, they're the wrong people anyway. So just be you and be you 10,000%, right? The more you can be, the quicker you will enroll the right people. That's the best marketing deal. So the second point is curiosity. This is where I disconnect. Like I am too much me, right? So I wrote minus me or where I want to be. Curiosity is really genuinely being curious. You can train this with your kids, because half the time or most of the time, it's so unlogical what kids do. Like what? And we're going around fixing and correcting and just playing with them. Uh, being really curious about your husband and your children. Why? I wonder what it's like for them in their little world, like just forgetting about you and what you think they should do. It's really, that's a challenge I find. So leadership starts at home. You can train this with your husband and your kids, and you get better enrollment conversations in your business. And your personal growth dictates your professional growth. I heard Shanda say that. Shanda Sumpna, my mentor and business coach, and I see it's so true. So she also said, which is true, that enrollment is a leadership. It's how you lead yourself. So if you're able to lead yourself by being honest, authentic, and then curious, forgetting about you or where you want to be, as soon as you're in the future, you're not with them. You're not connecting. They have a problem. They're somewhere right now, and I get that you want to get them to a solution and that you're the solution. But if you don't meet them where they're at, there is no connection. So genuine curiosity creates that, and it presents you and it grounds you to where they're at. Forgetting about your eagerness and your desire to, I know, oh, you shouldn't feel like this. I know the answer. I know the answer. You could just, that doesn't help. If there's no connection, you cannot move them. So being present, meet them where they're at, right? Listening, not telling. And I remember one of my colleagues when I worked in investment banking, Oystein from Sweden, he had this note and I copied it. I also had it. Selling is not telling. So selling is not telling. It's curiosity, it's questions, it's, you know, oh, like really allow them to be where they're at and explain it. Also move them. You're not asking for them to stay stuck, but you get to meet them where they are and allow space for them to be right there, right? And then the fourth point that I wrote down is willing and able to understand them. So able, if you are talking to your ideal clients, you're able to understand them because you've gone through the same. So that's the whole avatar who's your customer. Now, I understand what it's like to lash out and let go into anger towards your kids and towards your husband. I understand the shame and the guilt of being violent towards your kids. I understand these emotions. So I understand the mom that I'm talking to. I understand the woman that I'm talking to. Sometimes we're the opposite, but I can still understand them if I think about how it was for my husband. So it's being able to understand um, is something that you automatically do when you're in front of the right person that you've shared with, when you're attracting the right people. So people who are not angry and haven't felt that will never understand what it's like to be angry. They just don't. They can maybe do, but you just can't, right? And then the willingness. So the ability to understand is you being in front of the right person, and you're doing business the way that we do business when we coach, when we talk into helping people, like we get where you're at and I'm here where you want to go. Those are two ingredients. Getting where people are at right now. I understand you. I feel you. I hear you. I know what it's like. That creates trust and connection. And then you being in a space or moving towards a space, being in the movement of where they also want to go. You don't have to have it all together at all. You just dare to share and be honest about the shit you're in or have been in and where you're going. And then you get to serve and be a servant. You don't have to have it all together. That's my opinion anyway. So willing and able to understand them, that creates a connection. And this is really where we disconnect in our relationships, because we always try to be understood first because it feels so frustrating. I remember thinking the answer, if he could just understand, I'm like that. I saw that as the solution was that if he could just understand this one little thing, then, but the whole, the whole mess starts there when you don't try to understand first. And yeah, I just remember being so desperate. So it is the same in an enrollment conversation. So if you're in a marriage, look at the parallels to your husband and your children. If you're genuinely curious, you're creating an understanding that you don't already have. So understanding is not you judging and thinking you know how they feel. It is creating space for them to actually tell you and not having a preconceived idea, right? So that's where curiosity comes in. Curiosity is number two, and willing and able to understand them. I don't know exactly why, but I wrote that as number four because curiosity is the ingredient. So how do I create connection? Honesty, curiosity, being present, being where they're at, right? Willing and able to understand them. And then I wrote know and show them that you feel them. Like you know that you know how they feel, and you show them that you know how they feel, and they feel that you care, that you genuinely care. And that can be challenging sometimes, because most of the time I found like I loved my work, but there was something not converting. And I really did care about them, but my own insecurity just weighed a little more. It was just a little bit more about me knowing I was good enough. I was so happy when I got the money transferred from clients. I was a little too happy, I'd say. It meant a little too much to get that money in. And it's not that I didn't care once we were in a relationship, but it's how do you care before? Like, do you really want to serve them and help them? If client or no client, I'm here for you. I used to say that in my conversations, and I meant it when I said it, but it had been the disconnect was that it had been more about me knowing I was good enough because I didn't trust it fully. So truly caring about their transformation, their change, their like that they get something out of talking to you. And I don't mean talk to people and just serve them and not being able to receive and not making the offer, because I've been in that space too. Care about them, but care about them enough to actually sell to them. The best service is to sell to them. So what I call the fundamentalized method, which is something I literally just made up, and now it makes so much sense. I can show you this probably backwards, but I make this funny drawing, and it's in Danish, but my kid thinks it looks not pretty, but it really creates a point. So what was I saying? I lost my first thoughts, but the fundamentalized method, service is selling, and you service first, and that's the way that you sell to them, by servicing to you. They get to try the jacket on. I did a 5-day free event, and then I did it 3 times, and my program was full enough. 6 people enrolled for a year, and they're doing the same and creating the same, but some of them are not having the results. That's why I started to think about this, how to create connection. And then I see everywhere people are doing 5-day. So when you do a 5-day free event, you really service people, and the right people will move along. And it's great to service the ones that don't move with you. It doesn't matter. You're still providing, you're putting service out there. So that's step number one. And then you come to a point where you realize that selling is the best service. So first you realize that service is the way to sell. And then it swaps. And in my brain, I was like, this is for them. I'm not sad that they don't enroll, so I don't get the money and I don't get the success and I don't get to move on with my life. It was really about an opportunity for them. I really felt, is it for me or is it for them? Who's this about? It was the opportunity they would say no to for themselves. It had nothing to do with me. So that was the shift. It was a little, but a very important shift, where I wasn't in the future. I was just here, and no matter what happened, it was okay with or without me. And before, I would be like, I remember also when I had an IT company, I was cold calling, and it meant so much to get the meeting, and I got so disappointed. So if there's too many ups and downs, or if they're too far apart, there is an imbalance that stands in the way of receiving and stands in the way of manifesting your dreams. So this that I created with these people, and this is the first time I coach in Danish, it came because I saw something and I took immediate action, like immediate. I just created it. I didn't feel I had the time, but it was a call, and I just made it happen. And I got up at 6 o'clock Monday morning, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I was really tired and I had nothing really but I showed up and they showed up, and that's what made the difference. And then by Thursday, I was looking at, wow, I hadn't even been in the Facebook group like I always am. And I was later on the two other times, but the first time, Thursday, I saw what an immense difference it has created in these. I think there were 4 people on, and one of them, it completely changed her life and the people she was reaching out to's lives. So it was just a ripple effect of feedback from just showing up at 6 in the morning. So even that change you can create for yourself. If you're in a slump, if you're something, the way to go forward is to serve and to get up at 6 a.m. in the morning and serve for 1 hour. Just 5 days can change your life, can change their lives. So service is really the key when you do it like this. And it just, yeah, it took a whole shape of its own. And now I'm sitting here wanting to serve them by really thinking about how they can create connection. It's connection to the person in front of you that you're enrolling in a conversation, and it's connection to your own creative powers, but not just getting it down and into you, but also out and moving somebody else. And my business coach, my great mentor, Shanda's husband, said these words, and I'd like to elaborate on them because I thought they were so precise. Touch them. That's the first part, right? Touching them is the first part. That's the connection. That's when you are honest and they are honest. You inspire them to be honest, and there's a touch. That's a connection. That's the biggest part. And then he said, inspire them and move them. So inspire them is making them open to the fact that there are other possibilities. They could be in a different space. So my potential clients are women that are married, or moms. But if it's a married woman who wants to stop fighting with her husband, I get to inspire her that there is a conversation inside of her head that she can change to have a different result. So she doesn't really have to believe it yet, but I'm the inspiration that makes her go, I see that. And then ultimately she goes, I wonder how he feels. And as soon as she changes her conversation inside of her to, I wonder what it's like for him, bam, she's creating connection. But first come on, honesty always. So it's literally the same here. I can see that now. It's just dawning on me that it's still honesty, and then responsibility, which is the same as wondering how he feels, right? So when you're enrolling or when you're with your husband or your kids, touch them. Be honest, be caring, be loving, be listening, you touch them, and then inspire them is getting them to think, wow, maybe there is a way to go a different way than my automatic, because it's all about the automatic and then doing the opposite. We all have automatics that we just do, and then we create the same result. So the whole process of selling and enrolling is to get someone to have a different story inside their head, and then ultimately have a different reaction that's not automatic. So we can all change our lives if we do the opposite of what is our knee-jerk reaction. Like my opposite is shutting up and listening. My opposite is not telling people what to do. So whenever I do the opposite, I create so much. And the opposite could also be to just give service for 5 days without expecting anything back, just giving, but also having an idea and a plan of where you want to take people in a long-term relationship, but be present in the service in the short-term 5 day that you're giving, being fully present there, but knowing where you want to take people, and then being consistent. For me, it took 5 times 5 days. So every second week I did the 5 day free business coaching in the morning, and I brought two along, and two along. So consistency has been the missing key for me. Consistency. So that should actually also be, I don't know if consistency, yeah, it is a part of connection, because if you're not consistent, so we're very lucky when people just sign up, or luck has nothing to do with it. We can enroll people into a program, and the odds of enrolling are way higher than when they hang up, right? We know that. And I often tell clients this directly. If they say, can I think about it? Can I? Yeah, but chances are you're going to hang up. There's over a 50% chance that when you hang up, you go back to your normal life. You forget about these possibilities. You go back, you think the same, you say the same, and you create the same. Those are just facts. So when if you choose to hang up, that's most likely what your world is going to look like. Then I take them back to their vision, and I literally ask them this. It may be a cocky way of enrolling, when they've told me what they want. And this, of course, is Shanda Sumter's I Solve model. Go Google it. There's a Vimeo video of it. It's brilliant. I use it in every area of my life. I use it in my coaching in the first session. So I take them back to their vision of what they want. I want to stop fighting with my husband. I want to feel more love. I want to da da da. whatever their words are. And I asked them, how bad do you want it? I really asked them, how bad do you want it? And then I asked, do you believe I can get you there? And not, and like everybody except one guy said yes, because he's like, I don't know you that well, so I don't know. But like if I'm in front of the right person, if it's a wife who loves her husband a lot, it just comes out the wrong way. Like not all, I guess not all wives love their husband that much, but if you really truly do, and it just comes out the wrong way, then then you're in the right place, right? So they always say yes, they do believe I can get them there. Good, that's a good start. And then you just take the objections one by one. I mean, if it was easier to just say yes, there's something wrong. There's always objections. Now look at yourself when you are being enrolled into something that can potentially change your life. You always start as a no when you come to be a yes, and then you go back, right? So we will always have objections. It gets to be scary, and we're fearful of what can really move us. So that's going to be there for them as well. How well, look at your own life when you're enrolling stuff. Of course you're scared. Like a ton of money, a ton of commitment. What if it doesn't work? I'll be a failure again. People will laugh at me and I'm so gullible. All the conversations, they have them too. But the more honest and true you are and with them, the more they will reveal them. So take them one by one, the objections that are going to come up. And it's never about, just like when you're fighting in your marriage, it's never really about the mess or the money, but it it always ends up being talked about as the mess or the money, but these are just simple. So whatever objections your clients are having in the enrollment conversation, just stay with them, hear them out, and say, okay, what's next? And they do literally, they just need to be able to say it and be honest about the little voices. What it could be, oh, I've done it before. My friends will laugh at me. I can just hear them saying, oh, you're so stupid. You think you can be a coach. And oh, it's just marketing. They just want your money. Or maybe nobody's saying that and you're just saying it. Maybe because I remember that when I went to see Shanda, and that was literally my story. I was at the Sona event, like this beautiful thing that completely changed my life, changed thousands of people's lives. I was still, this is a scam. She got those people up on stage. She got them to say that just to scam me. And in the webinar, when there were like a woman on food stamps and all these testimonials, I was so skeptical, but yet I still moved my ass all the way to Palm Springs from Copenhagen. Quite the journey. But I was still in that headspace. So whatever it is that's in your client's headspace, when you're honest, they will tell you honestly what they're thinking, and they just need to get it out and say it. And then say, what's the next thing? What else? What else? What else? Okay. So, okay, scary, the money. Okay, put that aside. If money wasn't an issue, would you? Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So are you really truly saying that it's only the absence of money? Like if you go back, that's a little bit from Jim, our sales coach at when I worked with Shanda, a brilliant guy named Jim. So I know that he enrolled that way. I don't really enroll that way with the absence of money. He goes in, you take a loan, blah, blah, blah. I'm more with, do you believe I can get you there? And then I always give them an opportunity to pay a non-refundable deposit on the phone, and so should you, because that's when the choice is made. A non-refundable. If you pay, if you truly are a yes, I asked them if you really want to. If you pay your paying the non-refundable deposit means we get to move on in our relationship because you're not going to want to miss out on that money. And mind you, we're going to keep enrolling people in their vision and their possibilities even after they paid and signed the contract and they're locked in a relationship. It's still going to be enrollment and service and enrollment, because we're going to roll back to our initial, oh, it's not for me, I can't make it work. The past is going to come creeping up and show us his head. And then we get to focus and inspire them towards the future and shift, right? So this is not a video about how to do the ISOL model, how to do enrollment conversation. It's about what does it take to create connection, being yourself, daring to be yourself, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if you have conversations about what people may think of you. Uh, you cannot create connection if you're not connected to who you are, and if you're not willing to share it and be honest about it. It's going to be difficult to create connection. It's just the fastest way is just to be you, and people would be so relieved. Ah, that's so great. People are always so shocked, like, wow. And it's just, that's who I am all the time. And that's how I enroll. That's how I provide value. That's how I work, because then people like really, and I've heard this in the feedback, that it's so different because they had an idea that a coach is some kind of an expert that has it all together, blah, blah, blah. That's not going on in front or behind the scenes with me. And I don't believe it's going on behind the scenes with anybody. It's you sharing vulnerably and authentically what's going on is what attracts people to you. And then you just being willing to be the servant, the leader, the one that's providing the service, the one whose ass is really online because your clients, They only have to pay. You get to deliver. It's on you, kind of, and it's on you to let them know that they're responsible for their life, right? So that's the next challenge. So that's how you create. And I just want to quote again what Ash said, Shanna's husband: touch them, inspire them, and move them. So it's the movement part that's the last bit, right? It's the movement part when they jump into the contract that they're locked there. They're locked in a contract. They put the ass on the line. They light a fire under their ass. I remember Shanda saying that. That's the movement part, right? Uh, so the movement is the last part, but I believe that touching them is the biggest chunk. Once you touch them, once you're connected, once you're honest, and you're in their heart space, then it's the inspiration. It's the what if, like, just what if you change it? No, he should be doing that. Like, my husband should be doing that. What if you get a result from just shifting? What if you stay on your own turf and ask not what your husband can do for you, but what you can do? So in my coaching, I always end up here, and it doesn't really matter if it's business related because it's all the same leadership. So if you can stop the conversation, if you can ask yourself, what can I do right now without blaming, complaining, or hosting a huge pity party? Then you get to connection. It doesn't matter if it's connection with somebody or connection to your higher self, or that's just the questions. And you don't have to be able to stop blaming or stop hosting a huge pity party or stop complaining. But if you can find space to stop the conversation and just ask the question, that's why I find inspiration come in. If I could just ask the question, hey, wait a minute, what can I do right now? Instead of just going down the warpath. So inspiration is that question. It also is in Shanda's I solve model. I stands for inspiration, and it's the vision, it's the what do you want, it's the future. But it's also what gets you to the future is ask, like, this is what I say in my coaching: ask the right question, ask a better question. Don't ask, why the fuck doesn't he move the beer cans? Why? Don't ask that why. As what can I do right now? Or, gee, I wonder what it's like for him. So the main reason we don't get to the question, I wonder what it's like for him, is because we're still staring at why the fuck doesn't he? Why does he hurt me like this? Why me? Like, when your own ego, when you're hurt, your ego just takes up the whole space, and you're not able, it's the same with client and enrollment, you're not able to look over and above that ego and see the other person because your wound is swallowed up. It takes up the whole view. All you can see is your own hurt and pain. If you can forget about your own pain and hurt and suffering for just 1 second, long enough to ask, gee, I wonder how he feels. In that instant that you ask that question, you have created connection. I truly believe that. But if we're not honest about our own ass, being an ass, or our own behavior, and if we're just still in the conversation of he hurts us, our pain is just growing. Every time we look at it and feel it and how much he hurt us, we can create a whole story where we're the victim and he's really hurting us, and we cannot connect. So to take it to a parallel in a conversation with enrolling a client, if we don't forget about where we want them to go for just long enough to really think about where they're at and meet them there, if we don't forget about where we want to take them, if we don't forget about the solution we know for them long enough to just look over and above that and I wonder what it's like for them. Like, they're in a different place. We know we want to end up in the same place. You know where you want to take them and where you want to move them. But if you don't meet them where they are and really learn from it and be okay, we don't want them to stay stuck, but they have to feel like they can explain everything about how they feel. It's just like in a marriage, right? I just want my husband to understand. I just want him to listen. When I'm done talking, being able to explain myself, then I can move on, because then I feel understood. And basically, it has to do with my own bad behavior. I want to make all the excuses so he doesn't judge me on it. But anyways, that being said, it's the same with your clients. More and more, just pouring it out, and then it goes away. It doesn't hold their power. It's just like little secrets that they get to share, and then they're gone. So anyways, I just wanted to share about how you create connection and hop on, because my son has done his first YouTube video and he inspired me to do one too. And I loved seeing the shift, and I get to go in there and be with him again and not being disconnected. But I've just inspired to make my own video because of all my drawings here. And finish off with the line that we've heard a million times, but it really makes sense. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Touch them. I want to feel your body. That's a Samantha Fox song. I don't know if she says touch me. I think it has the line touch me in it. Anyways, great song. Just create connection, be connected. I hope this was helpful. I am going to share this with my 6 Danish students so they can create some connection. And I'll just pass this all around because I was inspired by my son's totally authentic YouTube video and his childish way of approaching things. And I miss being in connection and being in service. It's Sunday, but I look forward to working. So I took this chance, this opportunity. Mwah. See you guys somewhere, someplace. Leave a comment. Let me know if it helped. Maybe I'll do a 5 day in English sometimes. And if you're Danish, you can hop on the next one. It starts 21st of June. We do a new round of 5 days to pop your business with the fundamentalized method. It gets to be fun.